So, hello again. This time it's daytime, not evening time. Today we're going to show you how to make one of these lovely little things, which is a 7-segment display. So, right now we've got a 3. We're just going to first off show you how this thing works. Oh my god, redstone! So we're going to just turn this thing off, and then, let's choose a number. I'm going to go for a 2, and I'm going to fly over here. And hey look, we've got a 2. How lovely. Cool, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through how to build one of these things. Now it looks a little bit daunting if you've never done something of this size before in redstone, but it's actually pretty simple. It only uses a couple of different things, and there's just lots of it. Pardon me. So the first thing is this little piece of circuitry here. This is the basics for this thing over here. So all we're doing really is using a lot of this, just repeated over and over again. So yeah, 7-segment display fundamentals. So what each one of these things represents, what each one of these lines of redstone means, is one particular output that you want. So say this one is going to represent a 1 on the 7-segment display, and this one's going to represent, say, I don't know, an 8. It could be anything you want. Like, obviously you want to arrange them so it's sensible, so say 1 and 2. And then what this does is it sends a redstone signal down here, and then does nothing else. And then what we do is we put these perpendicular, which means at 90 degrees, lines of redstone in alternate blocks, so we put a little gap in between, so obviously we don't get anything mixed up. And what each one of these lines means is each pixel, or each bit of the 7-segment display, or each particular chunk of output in whatever device it is you're making. So these represent the overall output, say a particular picture, or a particular, piece of a 7-segment, a particular number on a 7-segment, a particular letter, whatever it is. And what these represent is each chunk of that letter or number or picture. So it could be a pixel, a line on a 7-segment, anything like that. In this case, it means each line of the 7-segment display. And what these torches do here, these redstone torches, is represent for this particular output which one of these pixels or lines or whatever it is, in this case, again, lines, which one to turn on when you activate this line. So to activate it, you actually turn this off, and that stops the output of this being suppressed or turned off. And then by doing that, you've got a little magic leap of faith from the redstone powers this rail here, and obviously you've got another one here, so it powers this one, and obviously then these two particular bits are then on. So if we just power that one down by whacking a redstone torch there, obviously in real life you probably use levers, I say real life. So for this one, instead of having these two pixels or lines of the 7-segment, we've got this one and this one. So if we activate it, you see the rails go on there. So that might look a little bit boring and pointless, but when we extend it over here, on the 7-segment, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 segments, surprisingly enough. So each one of these relates to a segment on the display. Now, you can order these however you want. I've ordered them the way I have, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you can just, do it whatever way. It really makes no difference. So each one of these lines this way on the stone tracks or rails, whatever you call them, each one of these represents a number. So I haven't actually finished this because I'm really lazy, but if we go up to the top ones there, you can see the torches there, each one representing which bits of the 7-segment to activate for that particular number. So for 3, it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, which really depends where you put these rails into the back of there. It really depends which segments mean which lines. So it's probably best to actually build it first, then put the redstone torches on. So basically how you build it is pretty simple. Is you just put a block here, then a rail over the top of all these rails that go the other direction, each of which mean a segment of your display. Then depending on how many outputs you want, so obviously we want 10, one for each digit. We want 10 of these rails, and then we've got 7 segments, so 7 of the coloured rails there. I have to choose wool to make it easier to see. You're probably going to have to, if you've got lots of different segments or pixels or whatever, you're going to have to put some redstone repeaters in there. Make sure you put the same number on each rail, otherwise it gets confusing and looks a bit weird on the output. You'll probably have to put some along here as well on the coloured rails there. You can see a row of them there, just to boost that stuff up there. So yeah, then once you've got your outputs here, so let's pretend, in fact let's not pretend, let's do it. So for 3, I'm going to activate by turning off. That turns on those redstone torches, which activates these rails. You can see those ones powered on. So I'm going to go over here. That activates these, and then we feed those into the back of this thing here, and that's the actual display. Now how this works is each of these pixel outputs or segment outputs gets fed into a big row of pistons. So to do the horizontal ones is quite easy. It's just a piston with 1 block down, 2 blocks of wall or whatever building block you want to use, a row of repeaters and a row of redstone, and then just 1 bit fed into the middle, and then all of them will get powered, and that means that the pistons will push out, which will give you, I'll just fly around the side and show you, obviously give you that out effect. So these normally will be in. So if I go and just prove to you that this works properly, if I turn that off, so nothing's being activated right now, it should just be completely flat. There we go, it is. If I just go and turn it back on again, there we go. Yeah, so that's activated, the ones we want to activate. So the horizontal ones, fairly easy to build. The vertical ones are a little bit, oh my god, computer, oh dear. There we go, we're back again. So the vertical ones are a little bit more fiddly. I mean, there's probably a better way of doing this, but I've just done it the sort of brute force way just to show you. Feed it up there, activate this one, and then activate this one. Now if you do this way, what actually happens is you feed this repeater in, it activates this one and that one. So we've done the same up here as well. Activate this one and the one below it. I'm not entirely sure why that works, what it is that actually makes it happen like that, but it works pretty much all the well, in fact it works all the time. So if you put a redstone repeater activating, for example, this top one here, it's going to activate this one here, and then it's going to activate, that one's going to activate this one, and for some reason magically that one works. I'm going to just check which one. Oh, that's really cool. In fact, it actually activates the one in front of it and the 2 below that, seemingly. No way. I got this thing here, so that's activating that one. That's really clever. So this little thing here, that's pretty magical. But if you want to do it sort of the way that's probably a little bit easy to understand, it activates the one in front and the one below. Activates the one below, activates the one in front, and below activates the one in front. So yeah, so that's how you. It's pretty simple. Like you basically just, this bit's the kind of the most complicated bit. So you do the stone rails for each of your numbers, outputs, whatever you want it to be, and each one of these coloured rails for a pixel or piece of a 7-segment display. And then you feed all those out. You use the redstone torches to show for which output which bits you want to turn on. You're going to have to pen and paper that and make sure you know which one's which. Or you can try it out a couple of times, and then if it goes wrong, then you just change it. That's the beauty of Minecraft. And then connect pistons to the bits of this big sheet of wall that you want to use as your segment or piston, pixel, and then it'll just push those out for the ones that you want to push out and make your segment. Now, the one thing to note here is these are sticky pistons, not regular pistons. The reason they're sticky pistons is when you turn it off, they've got to pull them back in again, so you can push out a different part. So make sure always to use sticky pistons. So we've got all these here, okay? And all those are the ones up there as well. And then, yeah, so we've got our big, giant 3. So yeah, and then we'll just put it on a little platform here, just because it's nice and tall. But yeah, so in the next video, I'll show you an example of how this can be extended to something even bigger and cooler. So yeah, see you next time.